Welcome back to Two Cheers, One Chat. We are your hosts, Zeri Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
Thank you for joining us again for another episode. And this episode, we are talking about violence in America.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
What a convenient time, too, right?
Right? It's long overdue.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be talking about this a long time and some other things, but I think it's necessary for us to do it. This was the perfect time, man. Right? And I always believe in the time that things happen. Like, is it supposed to be happening before a time, or are we talking about it at the right time? And right now, it's the perfect time.
Perfect time
to talk about it. But I want to start by given a definition of violence, and it says violence is an extreme form of aggression such as assault, rape, or murder. Violence has many causes, including frustration, exposure to violent media, violence in the home or neighborhood, and a tendency to see other people's actions as hostile even when they're not. Certain situations also increase the risk of aggression, such as drinking, insults, and other provocations, and environmental factors like heat and overcrowding. I have no idea what that So I want to start by giving some statistics.
Yeah.
On violence in America. Every day, more than 110 Americans are killed with guns, and more than 200 are shot and wounded. The effects of gun violence in America extend far beyond these casualties, right? Gun violence shapes the lives of millions of Americans who witness it, know someone who was shot, or live in fear of the next shooting. And the trauma of gun violence doesn't end when the shooting stops. So we're going to kind of break down and talk about what we're going through right now, not only as a country, but as a whole.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. It's really, really an important topic. And, a lot of people have different views on it. And especially with the Second Amendment right and the rights to bear arms, where people kind of there's certain people that are saying that, well, you're trying to take away my right. And we're saying, well, not me, but,
people,
what I understand is nobody's trying to take away anybody's right. We're just trying to say make stricter gun laws.
Yeah.
Because our children are our children, and we need to keep them safe. And as you see what's going on in the world, and mostly here, all these kids that are holding guns and shaking it up in videos and all this stuff throughout the country.
It's too much.
It's a lot.
It's really too much.
It's really a lot. And I'm going to touch a little bit on faith, family, and community in this, because it's really important that we have that. We have to start somewhere, right? And be our brothers and sisters keepers. And there's ways of us to do that, but we want to actually talk about how violence affects us all, whether if it's happening in this state or another state, it affects us all, because it really does. It's the children of our future. It's our children. It's children in general.
In general, yeah.
And we know how important it is and how much we love the kids, and we love to see them really doing what they need to, and being safe, and being protected by our that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
Not only as parents, but as human beings.
Correct.
Lots to dig into today.
Yeah,
but I want to
will.
Go back to this statistic. With that word, I always get jumbled up in my mouth. Across the country, people from all walks of life have been impacted by this public health. It is a public health epidemic. In a national poll, 58% of Americans reported that they or someone they care for have experienced gun violence in their lifetime. More people die from gun violence by early February in the United States than during an entire calendar year in other high-income countries, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. In addition, millions more in the United States are shot and wounded, threatened with a gun, or witness an act of gun violence in their lifetime. Where do you want to start?
Well, I want to talk about, you mentioned about community, it's very clear that there's a problem besides the obvious, people getting shot, people murdering people murdering innocent people. I think the biggest question is what drives a person there? What gets a person to the point where they get that furious, where they get that angry, that they go and they grab a weapon with the intent to murder people. We can say it's a lot of things that can bring a person there. We could say that it's stuff that they could have seen in their home. They could have witnessed a lot of angry situations in their house, and it brought them there, or they feel like they was being ignored and even bullied, right? Because you might have some people who have a past of being bullied, and now they use their past as a reason to let out their built-in anger, and they go and they take it out on people that don't have anything, to do, with who inflicted that stuff on them, the bullying. Mm-hmm. I want to say, and this is from both of us, rest in peace, definitely, to all the kids that were murdered in the schools, and the teachers, the people that were in the supermarket in Buffalo. I know the one with the teachers and the students that was in Texas. Those situations are very horrific, and I stand with you on this when I say that something needs to be done. Mm-hmm. We can't just look past something like this continuously and just think that it's okay, because if other areas can enforce the laws and make it where this kind of stuff don't happen, the biggest question is why we are not doing it.
Well, yeah, I think there's a few things at play here. The mental health of people, the access to guns, and a spoiled society. And I say that to say, if we go back, right, to where there was segregation of black people, and we see the bullying of black people, going on the way to school, and all these things that they went through.
Yeah.
As black people have been through as a race. Not one time did somebody think about getting a gun to shoot and take revenge on anybody else, right? And could you understand the mental strain, how people were dealing with all of these things, and yet still did not think about rushing into a supermarket, killing all the people that bully them, kill all the people that tell them they don't belong, that they're nothing. It makes me wonder, is that a spoil? Now it's a spoiled society where you feel that, okay, we know that bullying is not right. Yeah. We know that you shouldn't be doing certain things like that, to bully people, to intimidate people. Mm-hmm. So now we have to look at the mental capacity of the people, what is contributing to all of this. We know that COVID had taken a toll on a lot of people, right? Their mental, people get depressed, and people were going through the works. I've even had conversations with my coworkers working from home, how depressing that can also be, right? So we're dealing with a number of things, and we need to work through them individually to get to a solution, right? Yeah. Not because you're depressed, not because you've been bullied, that means that you have the right to bully someone. It doesn't give you the right to want to to take someone's life because you don't like the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Right? And so with all these things, also, United States, your Second Amendment right still stands. Nobody's saying that you don't have the right, and you must not have the right to bear arms. What we're saying is that not everyone should have access to guns.
That's right. That's right.
Not everyone should have children around them.
Yeah.
Because they have tendency, and I'm looking at it all sides, right? They have pedophiles, right? Not everyone should have kids around them because they have an illness, a sickness. You do not need to be around children. Not everyone should have access to guns because you're not mentally stable. Okay? And a lot of these things that, like I've seen with the Buffalo shooter, where he was saying these things, broadcasting it, what he was about to do, and nobody stopped it. With I can see you trying to post somebody's song and they're like, you don't have the right to do that.
Right.
But you're letting everything else run rampant. People can be racist. That doesn't get stopped.
Yeah. Doesn't.
You can have a whole manifesto posted online. Nobody's come knocking at your door. You know, and that's okay. That's not right.
It's not. It's not.
We need to have stricter gun laws. And I'm going to keep saying it. Nobody's telling you that you shouldn't have you feel like you need one, have it.
Right.
Keep it for your protection.
Right.
But if you have kids in the home, make sure your gun is secure.
It's secure. Yeah. They shouldn't have access, like to
no
that.
No matter what, what's going on, make sure they do not have access to those guns.
Yeah.
And also with these kids that we see that are waving it in their videos and they're saying all this. Where is all this?
Yeah.
It's like if someone
that's not helping either.
Yeah, where are the guns coming from?
Yeah. Well, you know where they're coming from. I mean, we didn't make them. They sent it over here. They sent it over here, and when you think about that, it kind of almost feels like a trap. To be honest. So it's like things is just put in front of you, and it's like, okay, let me see what you're gonna do with it. But if you really care about, this country, and you care about the people, that's not an action that should be done. We can't. You can't get on the news one moment and say crime rate is up, and we want to do something about it, in the city or in America, but knowing that you somewhat play a part, to gun violence.
Yeah.
So it's certain, regardless if you look at certain things and say, well, it's the person, it's the character. Well, the person and the character can't do certain things if they don't have access to certain things.
Exactly. You're making it easier for those person with those characters to do things that now we're sitting like, oh my gosh, all we do is shake our heads over and again, like year after year, and then the story dies down, and then it comes back again. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, we need stricter gun laws, and we need this and we need that, and all is just talk.
That's all.
And it's really from the people at the top that are in
position,
in the pockets of the lobbyists and the gun owners. And like I said, I have nothing against that. Me personally, I ain't got no time for that. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, if you want to have that, that's on you. But make sure that you're keeping it safe. Make sure that it doesn't get in the hands of the kids. And there needs to be rules, just like as we know, drunk driving, right?
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah.
You drink and you drive. You're in trouble if somebody get hurt.
You're gonna get penalized.
So like, why are you not making it the same way for a gun?
Right.
For guns, it's like, okay, you're studying about, oh well, it's that man that's holding it, or that's that boy that's holding it, and we can't change that person. No, you can make it harder for them to hold it.
Yeah. There you go.
You can make it harder for them to have access to these weapons. It's just disheartening, especially when it comes to now it's getting into the schools. We have enough to worry about.
That, that school thing, I was listening to some more information on it, and the other information that I was hearing, it's very disturbing because they were saying that some of the students had placed a phone call, they placed 911 phone calls, and they were just taking their time, and they didn't rush to that situation. And I remember I saw on the news that some of the other people that was reporting it, they were saying that was a big mistake. If somebody's reporting that, hey, I'm in a school, such and such is inside here, with a gun, you as an officer, you're supposed to move to that kind of call. That's at a school, kids are in danger. So so that part about a delay on getting over there or rushing into the school, like I don't get that. So there was no fast active movement, like with this. Mm-hmm. There could have been a possibility that a lot of those children could have been saved. I know there was like 2 teachers that had died along with the students.
Yeah.
But some things are preventable.
Yeah, I actually go back to like that's a separate thing for me, because the people who need to really investigate that, they need to do their job in that. I'm going to start all the way back from the house.
Yeah.
From where that young man got the gun from.
Yeah.
Why does he have access to it to hurt someone in his family like that, and then move on to hurt more people?
Yeah.
Why was he able to say it without nobody stopping it before it started?
Mm-hmm.
Comes back to faith, family, and community.
Yes.
Right? Someone was asking, do you know who your neighbors are? Do you know who you live beside? And I could honestly say, well, I think I know a couple of them. One to my left, one to my right, couple down the house. I don't know who lives across the street over there, who lives across over there. But coming from Guyana, we knew everybody in that street, even around the block.
Right.
And it was a community, like a family. Like, if you go over that corner over there and you make trouble, what's her name? Miss Lady over there is going to tell your mama.
Yeah.
And it's a whooping for you, and it's not where you're going to die, but you know what I'm saying? It's like the discipline, the family, the community, how we help raise each other's children. That's totally missing in America.
Yeah.
And also faith. Yeah. It's like the value for life is thrown out. Nobody cares.
Nobody.
Nobody values life anymore.
No.
And it's a lot. But I come back to the faith, family, and community. That's missing.
Yeah.
That's missing entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know who my neighbors are. Like I said, the one to the left and one to the right.
I like that example though. It's to live in a neighborhood and don't care about who your neighbors are, and not only just for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you have children, your children is outside. If you're letting your children just run around like outside, you don't care about your children's surroundings. Like, your next door neighbor could be a serial killer.
Right.
And you have no idea. And I'm not saying that if you step outside of your house and you talk to people that's in your neighborhood or next door, left or right, you know every single thing about them. Mm-hmm. But engage, talk, good morning, see how that person is, how receptive they are to you. See if they're even that type where you say good morning, are they going to say hi, good morning back? Or if you're saying good morning and the person's just like looking at you like some kind of, strange way, like you said something weird by saying good morning, then maybe something is a little off. We have to pay attention to the flags, the red flags that surround us. When you ignore, red flags, in a blink of an eye, something could just sneak up on you because you was just too cool. You was too comfortable. I want to know everything that's going on around me because my life is around that, And
we know that experiencing gun violence has lasting emotional, physical, legal, and financial impacts on survivors as well as their communities, right?
Yeah.
Some people live through it, but you don't really understand what they're actually going through. Some people grow up in that environment where there is gunshot every day. Somebody die over there, cousin, friend, cousin, friend, cousin, friend. It's like a chain of violence over and over, and people have to cry. They cry and they're like, all right, well, this is where we live in. It becomes a norm. Like, I'm used to the gunshots and the gun stuff over there. Like,
yeah, it's like PTSD. Yeah. For a lot of people.
It's a lot. It can really, really affect a lot of people. It do affect a lot of people. So America's gun death rate, which is 13 times higher than that of other high-income countries, make us a global outliner. Every year, more than 40,000 Americans are killed in acts of gun violence, and approximately 85,000 more are shot and wounded. This is the equivalent of over 110 people shot and killed each day in the United States, with more than 200 others shot and wounded. The crisis impacts mostly Black, Latinx, and other communities of color.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where the gun's coming from.
Right.
I actually got this report from Everytown where if you go on the website, those of you who want to check it out, where they're like spread out in helping so many different things with climate change, racial equality, everything. And they're really thorough, and they're really trying to do as much as they can to bring awareness to all these things that are happening. So we have a report that is divided into 5 sections. Bereavement and grief from gun death, where they put a toll of crisis into context, focusing on gun homicides and suicides.
Right.
And that's also something that impact all of us, people that are just killing themselves. Well, let me see.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about gun suicide and homicide, because those two forms of gun violence account for the great majority of gun deaths each year. Suicides make up 6 in 10 gun deaths.
Yeah.
With homicide, including shootings by police, accounting for nearly 4 in 10. The United States' elevated gun homicide rate represents the starkest disparity compared to other high-income countries. While the overall gun death rate of the United States is 13 times that of other high-income countries, the gun homicide rate is 26 times higher than these peer countries.
Yeah.
So.
Let's speak on it. So. Suicide, gun suicide, and homicides. It's interesting how much gun suicides is out there, but all of that connects to mental health, depression, people just disappointed in their life, not being in a place where they want to be, or they thought that they would be somewhere, by now. Some people can't get over like denial, getting shut down. Think about a lot of the people who are unemployed. So you look around and you see the people who do have, and you're on the side of the people who don't, and you get frustrated. And I feel like sometimes, like I said, it's not excusable, but those kind of things drive a lot of people, to to do certain things, to do certain actions. I feel like when people, they don't find outlets or anybody to talk to, they take matters into their own hands, and then they start isolating, themselves, start talking to themselves and saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I have nothing else to live for. And when you can't find value in your life, you really don't have anything pushing you to live. And I feel like that's where the gun suicide aspect comes into, where you have some people, they just take their life.
And yeah, I agree with you. I also want to say that's where we come back to missing faith. Faith is missing. The world has changed, and it becomes self-reliant on other people instead of relying on God for your strength to push you through. And I know that a lot of people have faced heartbreak. They've faced unemployment, losing their jobs. They've the broken hearts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And thinking that you need man. Remember, come back to that point again, where they feel that they need man to make them feel better about themselves, when they're forgetting who created them, from whence they came, who created them. The faith is lacking. And I say that because I've been in places where I felt like the world had just ended. But because of my faith, and I believe that I came here for a reason, and I think we're missing that. We're missing that faith-based family, where we actually we don't dwell there no more. There's people that don't dwell there with their faith anymore, and that has a lot to do with a lot of things. So this episode can we have so many points to come from, where how we can see how violence is rising besides the gun violence, but included with the gun violence, but looking back to the faith, where is the fate of the people? They're not looking for God. Everybody's believing that they are God. So there's all these different things that we can look at that can contribute to people being depressed, people feeling lonely, people not believing in themselves, people getting angry and jealous because they're seeing other people doing different things, not really accepting and really finding who they are, finding their fate, going back to the root of everything, and I know that there's lots of mental health problems that sometimes people need that balance between faith and medication. They may be missing family because family is not around to help them, and that's where community comes in. So even if your family is not there, you might have people on the outside in your community who are willing to hold your hands and see you. So that comes back to faith, family, and community. And those things have been excluded because everybody is about me, and here I am. There's lacking faith, and then we can go into the church community now, right? We can go into the community where we say we worship, and that's our church family, and then we get abuse over there, and then we feel like, well, man, listen, I'm out of church. So you steer away from that, forgetting the reason why you actually went to church in the first place. Not for the people, but for your belief and believing in God and believing that He has your back. Right? So there's so many different things, and I like I said, I feel like it's a big piece. It's a big puzzle. We just have to try and figure out certain things and try to get the correct pieces together. We're never going to be perfect because none of us are. We're battling with so many different things when it comes to us as Black people, right? And dealing with racism and all that kind of stuff. And for me, my faith is what keeps me grounded. I'm not a selfish person, but at certain points, I'm going to stay grounded in my faith, because if I believe in any other thing, or person, I fall apart.
Yeah.
Because what if that person doesn't hold their end of the bargain, their end of the deal, or, they decide they want to go somewhere else? I'm not going to be struck on that because of experience.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this podcast has a purpose for us to have open conversation. This is not even... Sometimes I say things and I know that it's the Spirit allowing me to just say what needs to be said.
Yeah, it leads us.
And I do pray for wisdom. I'm not no scholar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have all these degrees with people who can use all these fancy big words.
Right.
But I do know that when I open my mouth, you should be able to understand what I'm saying.
Correct.
And then hopefully it makes a little sense and it can touch the core of what you really need to hear at this moment. With this discussion, faith, family, and community is required. It should have been a requirement throughout our existence.
Yeah.
We have stopped short of it at some point.
Yeah.
And now it became where everybody is just out